on the business case. Were we supposed to do it this week or when?
So the original business case was due a while ago. If you haven't done it, I had another deadline for yesterday for me to review. So I think I said the next Friday. If people haven't done it yet, to do it by next Friday. So basically, I can just review it and nip it in the bud. And yeah, and it's gonna be, part of the little checklist that we create to see what people have done. So if you're not in a group, what I can
Yes, I
basically
was about to ask about the group. I'm not in a group.
not in a group. So what I can do afterwards is I can create basically a group in the chat and people can join groups, as a lot of people have completed their business case in groups. So I can sort of shout it out if anyone else hasn't done the business case, to just sort of join, and makes it easier for everyone to complete it together.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. Thank
Oh,
you.
perfect. And then if you have completed a business case, I sent over the business case I completed for the project, and I wanted your feedback as well. And then another thing, just remember, guys, we got the new LinkedIn expectations. So after every session, I want everyone to go till Monday evening to create a post on LinkedIn where we basically share what we covered in the session. Why? I really want you to get used to using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is going to be a really strong, powerful tool for your personal development. And, it's exciting to sort of show you want to join the group, Audrey? Okay, perfect. I'll send you the form to fill in all your details, and you can join the group and get started on the business case. So what I'll do is, if you haven't watched the onboarding video, I'll share the onboarding video. If you haven't watched last week's session where I explained about LinkedIn expectations and why we're doing it and more of the phase 1 of the project, that is also in the recording as well. And this week, what I really wanted to cover is requirements gathering. I'm not sure how many of you guys are aware what requirements gathering is. Does anyone know what requirements gathering means? Don't be shy. I know you guys know. You guys want to be shy? Okay, I'll let you be shy this time. So, essentially, when we do a project, every project needs certain requirements. Requirements means what does it need to achieve. So at the start of every project, you should basically have, whether it's workshops, whether you send out a document, you really want to get from each stakeholder what they want the project to achieve. So that's what we'll be doing today. What do I want to achieve with this project that we got going on? So it's going to be from 2 different perspectives. In requirements gathering, you basically go from different stakeholders. So as an owner of the and basically, okay, actually, I need to let you know what phase 1 is to make it make sense for this. So phase 1 of the project is essentially an interim solution where we could do courses for project management. The last phase 4 is actually like a whole actual software application that we own. But for now, it's like till the main application is built and completed, what is the interim solution that we could basically use to start selling courses, And from this, there's a few different options. Do I just create a little PDF and send people to different YouTube videos for the courses? Do I actually sign up? I think people was talking about Basecamp last week. Do we do it on Basecamp? Do I do it on another platform? So that's like phase 1, the interim solution that people to access courses and workshops before we build the main thing. So that's what we're going to be doing requirements gathering for, just so it makes it a bit easier to understand what type of requirements we'll be going for. And hey, Fires, how are you? Hope you're well. Did that make sense? How are you? You feeling better? You still fighting? You still fighting?
Still fighting, still defeated.
Still.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, I hope you start feeling better soon, man. I hope you start feeling
Same
better
here, because
soon.
I'm shattered. Seriously, it's the worst.
Yeah, and to be fair, it took me 2 weeks from this one. Two
Oh wait,
weeks.
since you
Mm,
came back from Malta,
yeah.
man, I don't know. This one I've had it for about a week, so it might be the same.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Hey, Rachel, have you got your hand up?
Yes, I do have a question in terms of interim solutions.
Mhm.
Just I don't know. Well, it's a long question, but what I was gonna say is like, is the interim solutions to like creating these workshops is to like gain people with the skills to come back to what the project is looking for, or is it just to like introduce them to the project?
Oh, that's actually a good shout. I guess the interim solution would be for basically, so it's like I've been doing these workshops, and it's like in the workshops we cover like, project management knowledge. We also cover um what your CV should look like. We also cover how to do interviews. So essentially with these workshops, the main thing is I have to be there in person. And when I have to be there in person, it's like, time consuming. So the interim solution, what I wanted to do is add the material somewhere that people can access it and learn about project management and learn about like how to get a project management job. And then the next phase will be as well to include like what you guys are doing as work experience. I want to have people access that. So that's again another thing. It's like, how do we create the materials? How do we allow people to actually focus on getting the work experience? So that'll be the phase 2 of it more. But the first phase is for basically people to access the content for the courses. That was a
Okay,
very
thank you. Got that.
you got it, because I was gonna say that was a very waffling answer, very waffling answer. So I if you guys, I know it's hard if you guys have enjoyed the session that we just had or last week's session. So I do highly encourage you to watch the Jira sessions just to see how everything works. But for now, I do want to take the filter away, actually. Why can I not just take it away? Take it away. Did I allow the people in? So what I really want to create is us to gather these requirements gathering. So you remember, as I said, it's for different stakeholders. So one of the requirements that I need, like we just said, I need a platform to be accessed by let's say project managers. But what I really want to do is create I want to create thank you for accepting them. What I really want to do is basically in Jira you can manage your plans and everything. Let me quickly show you guys what we'll be doing. So essentially in Jira, you can really create plans and risk management and everything like that. So here, as an example that we was doing, I was breaking down everything that I want to achieve with Project World Takeover. And can you see you got the main task and then you even got subtasks? So this was for like a plan, but for this session, what I want to do is have it as a project management as a requirements gathering platform. So we would have, this would be the requirement here, a platform to be accessed by the PM. What I want to do is add a column for list. It's not there. Let me do labels then. If I do labels, but for the labels, is it gonna add me a, so as a different stakeholder, I would say as the owner of the platform, but I also want to create a label for, let's see if I can move it as well. I want to move you way at the front. Let me move you. That's annoying. And then if I had another one, so this would be an example for as an owner, but just to make it easier, I'll do one as an example as a user. So what do you guys think? As let's say a user that wanted to learn about project management, what would be a requirement for this interim solution for you? What do you think you would need the project to contain for you to be a happy user?
Hi.
Hello, hi.
Hello. Oh, okay. So maybe like video, like content, like recordings of like specific project management
Yeah.
topics, something.
Oh, I like that. Video content recordings. I will put that under user. Actually for this one, I wanna change. Oh, what happened? Oh, it's because I filtered it on. So now, can you see the difference? As I want to change the owner to. Oh, it's gonna filter it on. That's one thing I don't really like about Jira. Like, why are you filtering stuff when I don't need you to filter stuff? And that's another amazing thing with the filters. You can basically pick different projects as well, so you don't have to just to see stuff from one project. So I want to just change that to business. Essentially, that would be one of your stakeholders in any project. So we would say, as a user, I want to have video content recordings. As a business, I want to have a platform access to be accessed by project managers. Another thing what I would do is prioritize how important is this requirement that we want to achieve. So having video content recordings, that's probably one of the highest priorities, right? Because essentially without it, people can't really access the information that they need. Also, having a platform accessed by project managers is also one of the highest priorities. You can break down the requirements into priorities such as high, medium, low, lowest, or we do this thing called Moscow prioritization. So it's a must have, should have, could have, won't have. And essentially by having that as our option, as we go through all the different requirements, we can basically really prioritize which requirements we'll be focusing on. Another requirement I could have is, for example, a creative look for the platform. So as a business, I probably do want to have a creative look for the platform. However, compared to, let's say, having a platform to be accessed by project management, it'll probably be a low priority for me because essentially, yes, I do want it to be creative and look amazing and look cool, but it's more important for me to actually just have a platform. So as we're working through this project, if we are running out of time and I had to choose between this requirement here, a creative look for the platform, or this requirement here, a platform to be accessed by project management people, which one do you think I would focus on?
Wait, sorry, I did not get that. What did you say? What did you ask?
Did
Platforms will be accessed by PM.
So, right. So essentially, okay, yeah, that was basically that was the right one. But essentially, I was saying if we're so you see from we got these 3 requirements right now for the project. And we got 2 that highest priority and 1 that is the lowest priority. If we was running out of time and we didn't know what to focus on in the project, would you focus on this task, which is a low priority, or would you focus on this task, which is the highest priority? And essentially, by prioritizing it, you know that you basically should focus on this highest requirement before you focus on this. So that's one thing in requirements gathering that you want to do. You don't just want to say, as a business, I want to have a creative look for the platform. You want to prioritize it. How important is it for the business? Is it a must-have? Is it a nice-to-have? Usually, we basically prioritize stuff versus must-have, which is like you need to do it before you go ahead, versus a nice to have. If it's a nice to have, majority of the time the finance team will basically tell you that you're not gonna spend money on it because they only want to focus their money on all of the important things. However, you still want to go through any requirements that people have just to have a list of everything that is needed to achieve, and then you go through the priority list and see what you can achieve and shift it around. And another one is security, right? So as a business, as an owner, as a business, I want a secure platform. I don't want people to enter any information that there's a risk that it could, get them hacked or release their details. So again, this wouldn't be a media requirement. This would be a highest requirement because essentially having a secure platform, you really need to make sure any client information is secure. So that's kind of how project management works for requirements gathering. Do you get sort of the gist of it? Did it confuse you? Hey, Audrey. Can't hear you, Audrey. Can you hear us? No, I think someone else also had a hand. Sorry, Audrey, we can't hear you if you did speak. But I think someone else had their hand. Who else? Rachel. Yes, Miss Rachel.
So in terms of all of these requirements that you've created, are they like integrated into one another? Because I was just thinking, if there's just one part for the secure platform, will that like whatever protection you have on it, will that extend to the rest of the tasks down, or it will just
Yeah.
be for just that platform?
Yeah. That's a good question. Okay, let's go into something fun then. So one thing, after you get these requirements agreed, you basically start breaking them out. So you see when I said secure platform, what does it mean? I probably mean save login information. I also mean, I don't know, save login information. Then I probably, even from my perspective, and now we can break it down. I want save login information for the user, right? Oh, wait, business for the user. But if I add another task, I also want to make sure the platform is not used by someone else. So essentially with that one, it's like if someone purchases a course, how do I kind of make sure to try and prevent people from, let's say you purchased it, but then the entire UK kingdom uses that same that same platform or something. And can you see this was a business requirement, but now under the business requirement, we broke it down into, is it free now? What is it free? Is it free? Okay, it duplicated it, so I just need to remove this one. But can you see it was an initial business requirement, but when we start breaking it into subtasks, you can actually even break down the different requirements per different areas as well. So this was my requirement, but for example, if a user didn't share that as a requirement, you still know that even though this was a business requirement, it still affects the user. So that's how you start breaking it down for the different parts. And then the thing is, in Jira, you can basically click add related work items. So it can be either that this issue, or I mean, this requirement blocks another requirement, or if this requirement is blocked by nothing else. In project management, we usually call these dependencies. So something has to be finished before you can really go and do something else. So essentially, this secure platform will end up blocking. What was the other requirement I had? Was it platform for? Okay, this one. So you know we had this platform access by PMs. Essentially, this requirement is now blocked by having a secure platform, because essentially, until this requirement is completed to have a secure platform, this requirement of having a platform accessed by project management people cannot be marked completed. Does that make sense? And then, you know, you can basically even add more. There could be another one that actually blocks this secure platform. So I don't think we got any blocker for now, but I guess having a secure, what could be a blocker to having a secure platform? Probably, I don't know, two-step authentication or something like that. Authentication. I didn't spell that correctly. I'm a Lithuanian, okay? You guys are not allowed to say anything. So now, can you see the difference? If we want to have this secure platform requirement, it is blocked by having two-step authentication. However, it also blocks a whole another task, or I mean another requirement as well. So you can really start breaking it down into that as well to get better visibility. You know, what is your blockers, what you sort of need to get rid of before that requirement is finished. Did that answer your question, Rachel?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
It did. Perfect. So, yeah. So that's all the different ways. And you know, I think this whole is blocked by blocks. This is actually pretty advanced requirements gathering. It's literally usually most of the time an Excel sheet whether it's a user, owner, legal team, whatever, as a stakeholder, I want to achieve X, Y, Z, and you put the priority. And then at the end, you basically have an owner that will be looking after that requirement. So you would have an assignee. So example, if I put myself as the assignee for this, I know I'll be focusing on two-step authentication, but I might put 5 as an overall assignee for the secure platform. And then this way, you know who owns each requirement. And when they're creating their plans, they know to include that into their plan. Another way you can really showcase it is, you know, can you see here we have it in a status? So again, it's whatever you prefer. Do you want to prioritize with the medium, higher, slow, or do you want to have it a status? As I said, the you know, must have, nice, could have, should have, won't have. Like I said, I feel like in a lot of projects we end up actually just having a must have and a nice to have. I won't have. So you can create all the different statuses, and essentially, let's see, let me just visually show you. And how do you decide if it's must have, won't have, nice to have? Well, you basically speak to during your during your requirements gathering workshop or whatever, you basically ask the person to have it. So as a user, you know, this video recording, you would say no, that's a must have, you know. Now, if I go into the different boards as well, because that's another view, another thing, you can view different views for Jira. So whatever view is really that you prefer. So if I open this Kanban board, can you see now visually we see this is I got 3 must-haves, 1 nice to have, won't have. And from here, we really, well, you know, it's easier for me to see what are the requirements. And again, but whatever you prefer. Another column that you could have is actually due date. So when is the requirement? When should it be due by? So it really, again, it really depends how much detail you go into it. So yeah, I think, was it Jane? Did you have your hand up as well? Jane?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, in terms of the prioritization of the requirement, is it being done by the project manager or the team come together to prioritize it?
Yeah, so you should basically have a workshop when you bring the team together. You bring all the different stakeholders that would have these requirements, you bring them together and they basically provide your view. And then next stage, what usually happens is the project manager will probably go and prioritize as well which ones they will focus on. But then, you know, if someone has said something is a must-have, you really need to be careful to, you know, take it out of the like let's say out the must-have bucket. So then what usually happens if you go away and you're like, you know what, this must-have we won't be able to achieve, as a project manager, you should go back to the team or to the stakeholders and actually say, this is you mark this as a must-have, however, we will not be able to achieve this in this project. And then you kind of have to agree that they are fine for it not to be a must-have anymore. Another set of sort of prioritization will happen when you're reviewing your sort of requirements with, let's say, either the portfolio director, it could also be with the sponsor, or it could also be with the finance people. Finance people are like the last people, and they really scrutinize you through your must-haves because they believe not everything is a must-have. You really need to basically showcase to them that it's a must-have. So in the last step, actually, the finance people actually might say, no, this is not a must-have, or if it is a must-have, you will not be able to achieve it in this project, take it away to the next project or something like that. So there'll be different phases of sort of prioritization. So one will be with your team, second will be the project manager will have a look, third could be with, let's say, the program person, program manager, and then it could be the project sponsor as well that has a say. And then lastly, it's always the finance that scrutinize it. Hopefully I got that right. I answered that nicely. And
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, perfect. And essentially you really want to be careful, you know, if you miss a requirement, it's actually a dangerous game because what happened to one of the programs that I was on, basically they weren't really joining the requirements gathering workshops. So literally like a week before we went live with a project, they were like, oh, but we need this and this and this and this and this. And we was like, well, we didn't have it as a requirement, so we never delivered it. So then from there, it was like the whole sort of politics of like, you know, how can we not have it? But how would we know to have it if no one really gave us the requirements? So you really want to make sure that you cover the requirements from all different perspectives, because last thing you want to do is get like very late requirements, and your requirements will change, you know, as the program is happening or the project is happening. And you will probably get some new requirements. You'll probably, like, you know, if we're working on the secure platform, we might find out there is actually other requirements to have a secure platform, you know. So your requirements are also always ongoing, and they might change, or you know, as you go due to time or due to budgets, you also might turn some must-haves into won't haves or nice to haves, you know. So your requirements do always change, but you definitely want to get in different perspectives involved to essentially not to miss something that a project should deliver. Yeah, perfect. So the task will be for you guys to basically go and work in either the same groups that you did in your business cases or in your new groups, or if you want to do it by yourself, that's fine as well, to really basically go and have a stab at requirements gathering from the interim solution. So what I really want to see is what the requirement is, who has made the requirement, and the priority. Whether you do the priority versus, you know, like this medium, high, low, or whether you do the priority must have, won't have, nice to have, it'll basically be really up to you. And you know, at this stage, I wouldn't ask you to add in assignee. However, if you wanted to, I definitely encourage you to, like, you know, have the assignee column as well, because you know, you can make it as detailed or as basic as you like. As I mentioned, in the real world, it ends up just saying, as a stakeholder, I want to achieve this and the priority as well. So yeah, that will be basically your task till next week. So if you haven't done a business case by Friday, you should do a business case and a requirements gathering exercise. And you know, I don't know, I'm not gonna have a minimum requirements on there, but you know, I don't want to see 1 or 2 requirements in there either, because essentially, did you really cover the requirements gathering? I guess your main one is gonna be as a user, isn't it? So yeah, let's align, see how it goes. Again, with the LinkedIn post, I would love for people to basically, well, actually, it's mandatory. So I would love, it's mandatory part of the work experience to make a post by Monday, just basically discussing what we discussed in requirements gathering. You know, the other week, people were sort of tailoring it more to their field. So we had some legal people from the legal side, like, you know, really say what we covered in the business case, how does it link to the legal side? You know, from requirements gathering, let's say if you wanted to tailor your post to more legal because that's where you come from, you could basically really say, like, you know, requirements gathering is probably one of the most important legal documents in projects, because you really basically set the expectations of what the project will deliver with your stakeholders. And if it's not, let's say, done correctly, there could even be, like, you know, legal consequences, because essentially some of the requirements could be something to do to make it legally binding, right? So it's basically like a legal document at the same time as well. So you can tailor it to your industry. But yeah, so everyone should make a post by Monday on LinkedIn. If you tag me and tag Bridgewater Takeover group as well, I'll repost it, and yeah, post it also into that group chat so we can support each other, because it's uncomfortable. Sometimes I feel like we avoid using LinkedIn because we feel like, oh, no one's gonna like our stuff, right? So yeah, let's support each other. Let's get your brand built out. The more you post on LinkedIn, even when you apply for jobs, the algorithm picks you up better. You get seen by recruiters, etc., etc. And then, so any other questions on stakeholder requirements gathering? Any questions on the LinkedIn post? No?
Hi, Jeffrey. Hi.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, sorry. Please, is there any way we can get the project brief or the project mandate? Because I've not done my business case yet.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I'll send the business case document in the WhatsApp group after. And if sort of there's basically a mandate in there that basically says what we want to achieve.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And then the next cool thing is that actually you can create different dashboards in Jira that will basically automate everything that you have. So I could call it stakeholder requirements gathering. David. And there's different ways to display your information. So for example, we could add this pie chart, and from the project selected, you can basically either add a specific project or you can create a filter that will show you things across many different projects. That is useful for the times when you are working on programs, portfolios, etc. So can you see we had this requirement gathering? What I want to do is do it by priority. So if I do it by priority, can you see now? It basically shows me how many different requirements I have based on different statistics. So for example, if I was doing this and I had, let's say, 20 low requirements and only 2 highest ones, I probably need to go back and redo the stakeholder requirement gathering, because there's just no way you will only have 2 important must-haves, you know? So this is like a nice way to visualize. So once you create your requirements gathering in Jira as a team, or if you're doing it by yourself, I would love for you to play with all of the different gadgets here to display the information. Another cool one is activity stream. So for example, if people are working on the project live, you can basically see who made all of the different activities on the board. So essentially, if I go through here and I only see my name, and let's say Rachel, I see that Rachel hasn't submitted anything, I basically know to kind of drop Rachel a message like, hey Rachel, do you remember we just want your input for the stakeholder requirements gathering? Are you able to go in and populate the board? So it's just like different ways to really see a lot of different information. You can also create different filters. So I didn't. So if I go back, okay, let's create a filter on here. So if we go in here and I create project backlog, and then I want to see, I don't want to see this. What I want to see is status. What? Rogue project. That's why I'm on the rogue project. So you always want to make sure you have the right project on. And if I see by status, I can also create a filter that will basically show me only the must-haves. So can you see all the other requirements disappeared? And then I can save this filter as a must-have. And then when I go back to the dashboard, I can edit it, and it will make me choose from all the different filters that I created. You can even make it update did you see there's an option to make sure it updates every 15 minutes? So essentially this would be updated live. So if you're a project manager and loads of different people are going in there, you can basically see who has everything that is being marked as a must-have. So can you see it then becomes easier rather than to go through the whole product requirements gathering list and just see which one is a must-have. You can obviously as well filter it on here, but then with the dashboard, it's like a quicker view to actually just see what is coming up. And you know, again, these pie charts we could have by must-haves. These pie charts as well, another pie chart that we could have is how many requirements do I have from so choose requirements gathering is the thing, and then I think I had was it label? And then now, can you see where as a label I added requirements as a business and requirements as a user. So right now we got 4 requirements as a as a business and only 2 requirements as a user. In your project, if you end up basically seeing that, you know, one of the stakeholders is only got few requirements, you basically know to kind of go back to them and double check, like, you know, are you sure that's all of your requirements? Because they didn't really add a lot of requirements in there. So the list is really useful to actually gather all the requirements that you will need. And, you know, making sure everything is tracked. Whereas with the dashboard, you basically get to see the different views, like, you know, how many different requirements broken down by the different stakeholders. If you want to have a filter on only your must-haves or anything else, you could have activity stream, you could have, you know, the percentage of different highest, medium, and low requirements. And really, you can do it literally on everything. So see if you find anything else that's cool, play around with it, and yeah, so this way you'll learn how to use Jira, you'll learn what stakeholder requirements is, and actually this goes into showing how you can report on the status and the progress of your project as well, because essentially, you know, right now we're creating it for stakeholder requirements gathering, but we could also have a list for the actual plan. So then you can actually show how many tasks are outstanding, how many tasks have completed. It really makes your life easier to report. So just by doing this one task, you basically touch a lot of different areas of project management, and hopefully makes it easier for you to understand how requirements gathering works in real life and get more familiar with Jira. So I don't blow your brain up, that will be all that we cover on Jira and requirements gathering today. Let me know if you got any other questions, if you're excited for requirements gathering, if you understand why we do requirements gathering. Do you guys know why we do requirements gathering now? Why do we do requirements gathering? Anyone want to jump in? I'll pick on someone. Who should I pick on? Austin, do you know why we do requirements gathering? No. Sam, do you want to share why do you think we do requirements gathering? You guys are a tough bunch to crack, isn't it? All right, then I will go and pick on Shalem.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Hello. A
Austin.
volunteer.
All right. So I think we do requirements gathering to like create like a roadmap for the project. Like it just guides us on what needs to be done on and how we need to get to the expected goal, you know.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you so much. And that's exactly it, isn't it? It's like so you know what you need to achieve as a project to make it easier. Because how do you break down a project? If I said this is a project to build a house, you could have 100 million new houses. Is there going to be a pool in it? Is it going to be 1 floor? Is it going to be 2 floors? Is it going to be 3 floors? But if you get input from your stakeholders, you find out, is it 1 floor, 2 floors? Do you need a pool? You know, how many doors, how many windows is it, and stuff like that. So you start personalizing the project and what it needs to achieve. Yeah, and then I guess, and who, I'm not going to pick, I guess, Tabasso, since you went last. Did I say it right? Tabasso? That's a nice name. Do you wanna jump in then and share your thoughts? Why do you think we prioritize all the different requirements? Only because you had your hand up earlier. No, I'm going around the table. Hey, Rachel.
I think we prioritize the different requirements because some of them might have essentially maybe more weight to the other different types of requirements. So in regards to like maybe the stakeholders' requirements, they might actually end up having more priorities in some, well, maybe most cases. So we have to do that first so that everything else runs smoothly. And
Oh, I like.
that's why we also have the must-haves as well.
Yeah, no, perfect. Thank you so much. And that's exactly it, isn't it? It's like everyone's gonna have 100 million requirements. How do we know what to focus on? And at the same time, there's only certain amount of budget and time that you guys gonna have to achieve a certain project. So it's never gonna be possible to achieve everything. And all the stakeholders always want everything, but it's just not enough time. So how do you know what to focus on and to make sure that the stakeholders are happy at the end? And like we said, maybe they will come back and say certain things are a must have, but if you find out you won't be able to achieve that, it's basically managing stakeholder expectations and letting them know that actually as part of this project we're not going to be able to achieve this. But usually what happens is you have like a phase 2 project, and from the phase 2, you basically say, but since this is a must have, we'll carry it out to the second phase, just to sort of, not make them feel like that requirement is gone forever. So yeah, no, okay. So well done, guys. Now stakeholder requirements gathering. Usually we do it as a workshop just because it becomes easier. Again, sometimes we break the workshop by project. Sometimes we break the project per different stakeholder groups. Certain we break the workshops by different business units in the business to make it easier to really, get everyone's thoughts. And actually at the end, what you'll find out is a lot of the requirements overlap. So for example, what the business wanted or certain areas of the business needed, another area of the business will need, and certain stakeholder needs. So, having a platform, that's basically a need from me as a business. That's also a need for the user, because without having a platform or the interim solution, you'll not be able to, I wouldn't be able to provide the courses. As the user, you wouldn't be able to access those. So can you see different requirements from different sides, but actually it's one requirement. So that's what you go after. You sort of consolidate all of the requirements. And again, if 5 people of the different stakeholders have mentioned something similar as a must-have, you basically know that you really need to focus on it. Whereas if only one of the groups mentioned it as a must-have, you can start thinking, do you really need it for that project? What if fire say? Is that managing expectation from different people and people from different business departments that is the real difficulty? It definitely is, because the requirements end up being conflicting. The requirements end up being, or even the requirements are like conflicting in a way where someone wants something that would ruin it for the other stakeholder, or sometimes they are conflicting in a way that like, let's say if you wanted the platform to have green color and I wanted the platform to have a yellow color, that's 2 conflicting requirements, and then you probably just have to go in like, why did this stakeholder want the platform to be green? Why did this stakeholder want it to be the platform to be blue? That's just like as an example, and you kind of see what basically ends up being the more important priority. So how do we do this, G? What, the stakeholder gathering, or when there's conflicting requirements from different businesses? What do you mean by how do we do it? Conflict. So essentially, you probably have to have someone else in the project work with you on your requirements. A lot of the time it could be the program manager. You sit down with the program manager and you see actually what is the more important priority. You can go to the business sponsor as well, see from their view what they'll be focusing on. Or you basically have another workshop. You have another workshop where you discuss this and you go into why is it you want to have this? Why is it you want to have this? And you basically facilitate to come to a middle ground between the stakeholders. Usually, if you can't get to a middle ground, you end up just escalating to those people that I mentioned earlier. So yeah, it's a lot of communications, yeah. And that's actually why I think communications is the most important skill for project management. If you've got great communication skills, you'll be able to really be an amazing, whether it's project manager, whether it's PMO, whether it's program manager, whether it's business analyst, because that's the main thing, knowing how to communicate to people, knowing how to manage their expectations, and also making them feel comfortable to share their requirements as well, because sometimes people don't feel comfortable, or sometimes people don't prioritize giving you the time. So I don't know if anyone was on the call earlier, Neda was just mentioning how in Jira they use a calendar view to basically see like when certain meetings took place. So you could basically have in the calendar view that you had a meeting for stakeholder gathering, stakeholder what is it? What did I call it? Oh my God, I even forgot. A stakeholder requirements gathering workshop, and you could say this person didn't join, that in the next meeting that you have and they also didn't join, in the end, if this same person complains that their requirements were not in, you could say, well, actually, if you have a look, you didn't join this and this workshop, so how would we know your requirements, right? So it becomes a lot of that. Dealing with people, communication is everything I'm seeing now. Yeah, and I think that's the most beautiful. If you like communicating and if you are a talkative person, if you enjoy dealing with people, that's the beauty of project management. I think it's the beauty and the curse, because I love talking to people. I love getting different views, but when you end up having to deal with people and people's emotions and people's politics and people's egos and people's defense mechanisms, like that's when communication is just so hard, because well, you are dealing with people, and that's why I think it will be really hard for AI to really completely get rid of project managers or product owners or PMOs, because some of the things that I get from people in my project, sometimes I'm like, huh? Like it's just people, everyone's got a different brain, everyone's got different thinking methods. So in projects as well, what you really want to do is clarify. Never assume. If you're doing a stakeholder requirements gathering and you're assuming that's the requirement, never assume, clarify, because the assumptions will burn you in long term. If you're not clear about something, always clarify. I think that's my biggest advice for communication. Audrey said, how do you manage your emotions and dealing with stakeholders? Well, one, I guess you have to know that at the end of the day, this is just a project, right? You don't take it personal, and well, that it's not that deep. It's not that deep. There has been meetings where I've legit just dropped off the meeting because I'm like, I'm not dealing with that. Like I'm not dealing with it. So take a breather and find out if someone is being a difficult stakeholder. Have like a one-to-one. You'll probably end up finding out the reason. So for example, there was one time we implemented a project management tool. There was really one difficult stakeholder that actually every time you'll be in a meeting, he would just be cussing the project management tool, saying how bad it is. So I was thinking, you know what, this is not good. So I had a session with him. Turns out he just didn't feel comfortable using it. He didn't know how to use it. So automatically he was being negative about it, because deep down, he just didn't know how to use it. And it's change, in projects. If you work on change management projects, I think I say this like them every time. Change is uncomfortable. Whenever you change anything, it's like you just have to know there's gonna be, they call it the change curve, I think, and it's like storming, norming. So it's like through every change, you're always going to have some storming when people are not happy. And then afterwards, it goes into a bit of a norming stage, like, you know, when it goes down and everyone does become very normalized to it. So, you know, I think communication is key. So even when people are being difficult, see if you can find out the reason why they're being difficult, because actually there's usually a reason behind it. And you know, who said it was doing I don't know, was it Rachel or Jane? Who was doing psychology? And when we was talking earlier, I saying, you know, yeah, Rachel. So I was even saying, you know, we need to probably get something what Rachel was doing in her psychology courses to basically see how people's brain is. And, you know, like, because she probably knows everything, every reaction, every emotion deep down, it comes from something else. So it's just knowing that you deal with people. People are difficult. You don't know what's going on at home as well. And that's why I think emotional intelligence, working on your emotional intelligence, is more important than your IQ, because I can teach a lot of people project management, but I can't teach you to be emotionally intelligent. I can't teach you to be understanding. I can't teach you how to control your emotions. So yeah, and breathe, and just breathe. I think that's my biggest thing. Just breathe. Sometimes as well, there will be stakeholders that are not nice, and it's just knowing, um, I'll just I'll talk to them for the sake of talking, like to get the task done. But I'm not doing no kiki kaking. Like I'm not there. I'm a chatty person, but if your vibe is off and you're being difficult, you're not gonna get that nice side of me as well. It's like I'll speak to you enough. How do you deal with people blaming you hard for stuff? I think have a backup. Every time every time that I've been blamed for stuff, I had evidence that it wasn't me. I had evidence, whether it's in an email, whether it's the actual sign off of something. I always have evidence that actually this wasn't with me, you know. Are there free versions of Jira to download? Yes, so Jira is for free. It's actually just on web. So Jira is actually a free platform. It's free for up to 10 people. So if your team is up to 10 people, you can basically use it. Yeah, Rachel, like she said, documenting everything. You want to really have a backup. Everything. Even if you have a conversation, you see how me and you have a conversation. If we agreed with something, you better go after to be like, hey, thank you for the meeting. As discussed, we have agreed, da, 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 da. Because you'll be shocked how many people agree with stuff on Teams, forget it, and then treat you like a crazy cuckoo person. How do you deal with people failing behind like devs? Well, one, I think is finding out. I think just from speaking, you know me, I try to be a very understanding person, right? So at one point I was talking to someone and they work as a dev, and he was like, I'm tired of you project people because essentially you guys are always like, when is this done? When is this done? Like, that's it. So I was just saying, but what would actually make it useful for you? And they were saying, just ask me if I got any blockers. So I think that's my biggest thing now. Whenever someone is falling behind, ask them why and ask them if there any support that you can support them with, whether it's you, whether it's another resource. Is there any way you can remove some of these blockers for to make it easier for them to, you know, really, well, get the stuff done on time? And then I think another thing is you need to have a look, did you set realistic time zones as well? Because essentially a lot of the time we set deadlines for devs that are actually the devs always knew they won't be able to achieve, but we just set it up. So when you're setting up those deadlines, make sure it's a realistic deadline. And you know, you need to have a session where you sort of, if it's falling behind, you need to have like a whole another plan where you go and revisit the dates, create a whole new dates and see what's realistic. What else? So do we just make contracts out of thin air? I want to say contracts out of thin air. It's like based on discussions. So, you know, if today me and you done requirements gathering on this, but I didn't document it, I would basically drop you an email and say, hey, Fires, thank you so much for confirming that you agree that this won't be a won't have. Especially if you agree that something was a must have and it was not won't have, you'll go back and say, hey, thank you for the session. As agreed, this requirement is no longer a must have and will now be a won't have. How? Now, in the end, if they end up saying, like, I didn't agree that this won't be a won't have, you got that trail of emails as a thing. If you're submitting stuff, submit it as a, and, you know, get the sign off. Even if you get the sign off on Teams, like on the chat, get the sign off officially by email. So, yeah, it's just honestly the art of documentation and paper trailing, like you said, it's it'll get you backed a lot. And you know, there was one project where basically they released 100K to a supplier when they should not have released it. And because I was in charge of basically approving when the money goes, as soon as it happened, they end up coming to me to say like I messed up and we released the money. Guess who sent an email to the finance team to say, lads, please make sure this part of money is not released because the milestone has not been achieved yet. So as soon as the fire started and they were coming after me, guess who nicely pulled up that email that said, well, I told finance people not to send the 100K. So then I was no longer in that equation. The equation continued without me to find who messed up where. And, you know, they found who messed it up, but I was the first person they went for because, well, I was in charge of releasing that money. But because I had that email and I made it very clear in red letters, do not release this 100K yet, I was basically saved. So, yeah, definitely always have backup. Hey, Rachel.
In regards to documentation as well, especially even by email, what about like official documentation? Like how does like a little bit of that process works? Like obviously in relations to money, you would
Yeah.
need to like sign it off, right? Like proper signatures and stuff.
Yeah. So in terms of, let's say, even like a business case, right? When you're getting a project approved, it's called route of authority, and they basically create based on how big the business case is and how much money you're spending on the project. You'll have a different route to get the business case approved. So for some of the documentations, it will actually be different working groups and different forums and different stakeholders to approve it. So you'll get sent through that one. Through, for example, change requests as well. If you're submitting a change request once this project has started, I implemented a change management procedure. So from there, you basically submit the change, then we review it at one meeting, which is like a program level based meeting to see if we're going to go forward with this change. Next, you have to review it with the design team. So the design team basically approve if this design is feasible and if it's doable. And after that, we go to like the bigger approvals where like you have to agree from different parts of organization. So can you see first we approved it within the program to see, well, is this change even going to be feasible to do for the program? Then you go to the design people. Can we actually change this design if needed? Because if it's a no, there's no point even to going to the next stage to approve, you know? So you start filtering out through different stages. So it'll be different meetings to get different things signed off, really. Yeah, perfect. All right then. So to regroup, um, if you haven't completed a business case, you need to complete a business case by Friday, 6 p.m. You also need to complete a LinkedIn post talking about requirements gathering and what you learned today and what you found, the importance of it. If you want to tailor it, you can tailor it to your industry. I'll share like a basic one for people to use. Free to actually work as a group or as an individual to create these requirements in Jira. I'm gonna share a recording of another Jira session if you guys don't know how to create the sort of the different tables and stuff like that. And from there, you should go and play with the dashboards as well. So these are the 4 things. Hopefully less if you have already submitted the business cases, but the stakeholder gathering is the main thing. So you need to go and think as a user, or are you gonna be proactive and maybe get the business stakeholder in to also share the requirements? Let's see how you guys address it. Let's see how it works. And next week we'll basically go through, well, some of your requirements and what you guys gathered. So that is, it's a hefty week, isn't it? It's a hefty week. But yeah, I really want to push this interim solution by end of November. So let's see how it goes. And after this requirements gathering, we're gonna start creating a plan of action, and we're gonna cover some risk management as well, because that's a really big important thing. If you do want to focus on a specific part of project management, please do drop me a message just so I can really make sure that it's included in this work experience. If it was your first session, welcome to the squad. Excited to have you join. So yeah, if you got any other questions, always here. Hope you have an amazing, blessed week. And yeah, and anything that we cover in these, if it's not clear, never feel shy not to get in touch. No question is a stupid question. And remember, even that in projects, ask questions, clarify things. The more you clarify, the less likely you are to make mistakes. So thank you so much, my lovelies. Thank you for joining me today. We'll wait to be added to the work experience group and get the business case template. Yes. Beautiful. I shall share the form link with you as well. Thank you. Hey, Austin. I say your name like Americans. Austin, Texas.
It's Austin, yeah. You're
Or
right.
yeah.
So the business case, is it the one you already sent to our emails, or is there any way we could get it? The templates you're talking about?
Yeah, I'll send a template if you guys want to use a template. Of course, anytime I share a template is to make people's life easier. If you guys want to go and do your own research and see what should be in the business case, I'm always down for you to also create your own as well. But I'll share it just to make it easier for people.
Can we just send it back to your email by Friday, yeah?
Yes, please.
All right.
And then I'll put like a group in the WhatsApp. So if you guys want to work as a group, you're able to join that group.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Perfect. All right then, my superstars. Thank you for joining us. Have a blessed week. I am looking forward to seeing some of the requirements, and I think it will make it easier for me to understand, especially from your guys' perspective, right? What is it as a user that you would want to have in this platform? Because I think one thing I don't want to do is create an interim solution that is only good for me. I want it to be amazing for the users. Just remember, this is an interim solution, so it is supposed to be very basic, just to keep us going till the actual big thing is built. Hey, Rachel.
Hey, sorry, as I'm actually new, so I don't know what exactly is the business case. And do I just need to go back to like the introductory videos and then I'll obviously figure that out?
Yeah. So I'll send the onboarding video. The only thing that changed from the onboarding video, if you guys are new, we used to do this as a partnership with Project Futures, as we were supposed to do it together. So on the onboarding session, I'm like, yeah, we're doing it Project Futures. Project Futures is no longer part of this, so it's just us. But we basically go through the different project life cycles in the onboarding video, and then we go into the business case and why we do the business case. So essentially, business case is the first document that you basically create at the start of a project, and it basically has the project, and it basically has different options how to address the project. And from those different options, you basically go into some risks, you go into, like, it's basically like it's supposed to be like a quick overview is this project feasible? Is this project justified for us to do it? So that's the basically main reason for a business case. You take the business case forward, and either the business case gets approved or rejected, and you can sort of carry on with your project. So it's like a quick overview of what you want to do with the project.
Yeah, so what exactly the project is.
Oh, what a project is. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Sorry. Okay, sorry. I just thought you meant like the thing. So I really want to build a platform. I want to build a platform where we can have project management knowledge. We can provide project management work experience. So essentially what you guys are doing here in like a platform. And I really want to have the platform to host for the Project World Takeover community. So that is the main project that we're doing. I've broken it down into phases, and phase 1 is basically to have an interim solution. So until this platform is built, how can we start doing courses until then? How do we, where do we post it? Where do we keep the information? How do we keep the information? So that's what this project is, to basically build a platform for project management knowledge, work experience, and community.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right then, lovely jobblies. Have a look at all the videos. I shall send them through. And if you've got any other questions, let me know. And if any people that have already done a business case, that if you don't mind, if you would pop into the group chat, if I've already done business case, if you want to ask me questions, I'm down, because I think that's another thing that I really want to start encouraging people to do. If you have already completed certain aspects of the work experience, I want you to then go and share your knowledge. Why? Because, well, it kind of tests your knowledge in a way as well, because now it's like you didn't just create a business case. Now you're able to explain the business case to someone else. So I would love to see if we do have any volunteers to continue spreading the knowledge that you already learned in the last few weeks. Beautiful. All right then. Have a lovely week. Thank you for joining me once again. And we shall see you next weekend. And I shall see your business cases and your requirements by Friday, 6 p.m. And we shall be tagged in a LinkedIn post by Monday, 6 p.m. I'll share my LinkedIn so you guys can connect. And yeah, let's just start building a brand. Let's really start. LinkedIn can really change your life. I promise you. So I want to get us into the groove where we really use it. Which email should we send the business case to? So it's gtakesprojects@gmail.com. I'll post it into the group chat. Actually, maybe I'll add that to the business case template, just so it makes it easier for you guys to know where to send it. Perfect. Beautiful. Lovely, jubbly. Have a lovely week. Any questions, always here. Stay blessed. Yes, the mandate is actually at the top of the business case. It's like a short little, because actually usually a mandate is just a it's basically a sentence. It's an idea. So technically that will be basically your mandate, a project management platform to share knowledge, get work experience, and build a community. And in real life, that's what a lot of the time basically the mandate ends up being. For the LinkedIn post on Monday, yes, please. And I would love for you to discuss requirements gathering. So what did you learn about requirements gathering? Why did you feel like it was important? Stuff like that. So today's LinkedIn post this week should focus on requirements gathering, please. This will be in the chat, right? Yes, I shall upload it to YouTube. And I shall upload it to YouTube and share the link in the chat. Actually, that's another thing. I need to start creating like a document. If anyone wants to help me, let me know. I need to start creating like maybe an Excel with all the different sessions and all the different links, so I don't have to constantly go and keep finding the links individually. So if anyone would love to help me with that, let me know as well. Drop me a message and we can sort of, put stuff together. Beautiful. All right then, my lovelies. Have a lovely week. Stay blessed, no stress. And remember, whatever's meant for you will never miss you. Whatever missed you, that was not meant for you. Whether it's that project management job, whether it's relationships, friendships, opportunities, whatever is for you will never miss you. And just know, sometimes a rejection is a redirection. So you might have not gotten that job, but it was just not meant to be. And you just really need to work on your strategy to get the jobs. Any platforms recommended for entry-level PMs? When you say platforms, do you mean to learn for jobs? So LinkedIn is your best friend. CV Library, Read, actually even some entry levels on Indeed as well. eFinancial Careers is another great platform. And most importantly, you need to just register onto individual agencies. They're sort of like recruitment agencies. So just put project management recruitment agency near me. Go into the website, register your details, give them a call to see, if they have any jobs. That's like one of the best ways now to like really register into individual things and companies as well. All of the companies will have career sites. So if there is a specific company, and actually now ChatGPT is here to save the day. Just prompt, I'm looking for project support role in London, pow, and it actually ends, maybe even say posted in the last week, so it doesn't send you like lists from before. And with that, actually ChatGPT will actually find you a lot of jobs now too. It's crazy, isn't it? How times have changed. Crazy. But yeah. All right then, my lovelies. Have a blessed week. God bless, no stress. And yeah, see you guys next week. Any questions, let me know. Au revoir. Bye bye. Bye bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.